Time for your weekly dose of pop culture with Kathy and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Hey.
Thursday night. It is time for pop culture with Kathy and Kenny. I am Kathy.
And I am Kenny.
And this is your weekly dose of pop culture.
Pop culture. I don't have my pop culture shirt on.
Blasphemy!
It's sitting over there.
I got one in the background. I don't know if you can see it. It's way in the background.
That's Goonies in the background?
That's Goonies in the background.
Goonies in the background.
Good enough. We got the Goonies in the background. And hey, it is Saturday night.
You hear me? Because I can't hear myself in my mic.
Okay, I can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear you just fine.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
okay. Can you hear me? Sounds like you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I still haven't gotten that little ground thing, so I'm still popping a little bit. So
Yeah.
just bear with me. Bear with me and bless me. Um, we are we come together every Saturday night. We have since the pandemic kind of really got rolling, and it's pop culture is something
Yes.
we've always bonded over. And as we've been talking week after week, Saturday night after Saturday night, I find my brother has some big, whopping, smack you on the face gaps in his pop culture knowledge, including not seeing classic movies like The Goonies. And I'm sorry, but The Goonies is a classic for anyone of a certain age. So if you are like over, I would say 45, maybe 48, and have not seen The Goonies, there's just problems. There's just problems with your development. That's all I'm going to say.
That is not okay. Well, let's not judge people by whether they see the Goonies or not. That is
Oh,
not a
let's
determining factor on if you've seen the Goonies. Um, I mean, let's not pigeonhole people.
I say we should.
Wow.
I say we should, because
Wow.
I think even like Stacy Kaiser posted on my page, even someone posted on the page, like, really, Kenny's not seen the Goonies.
Okay.
But if
Yeah,
we're gonna,
that-
be this
that-
brother and sister team that talk about pop culture and the pop culture of today and yesterday, because we are of a certain age, then I'm sorry, Goonies is like one of those classics. It's like one of those. I actually watched it again this week, and it's been a rough week, but I was like, I have, I have to watch it again.
Okay.
Just,
So here's the
but
thing.
before we even get started, because we also wanted to kind of say, okay, where are they now, and take a look at some of the cast members and see what's going on with them. Go ahead.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Like usually you give me these movies and I'm not too like Still Magnolias, it's okay.
Oh,
It's
Still
good.
Magnolias is a classic. It
Okay,
was an
well,
amazing
it,
play,
it
and
was
I just can't even go there with
it
you
was
some days.
it was predictable. Um, my cousin Vinny, you had to be there. One part made me laugh, and the one part that made me laugh was not the part that made everybody else laugh. Everybody's
Oh,
laughing about this grit scene, and I'm like, I don't know. The part that made me laugh was the part where the lawyer was stuttering.
and
Um,
he goes, "I
I
want that
will
guy."
say,
Actually, the part that everybody liked in My Cousin Vinny was the biological
yeah,
clock.
my biological clock is ticking. Yeah. Like it's look, it's not believable. Number one, that a guy like Joe Pesci could get a Marissa Tomei, and it's not believable
It's a
that a guy.
comedy.
I know, but it's not believable a guy like Joe Pesci can get a Marissa Tomei and not want to sleep with her to make babies. I don't understand that. But let's talk about the Goonies.
Comedy.
Yeah,
All right.
it wasn't funny.
Well, first
The
of all,
Goonies.
because you saw Goonies, and again, as an adult, I'm sure it's a different experience seeing it for the first time. But just give us your impressions. What'd you think?
That movie sucks so bad.
What is your problem? I'm canceling you.
That was the worst movie. No, I'm saying no. I'm just joking. You know what? I love the Goonies. I love the Goonies.
Yes,
I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm watching the Goonies,
that's what we want to hear.
and I'm probably gonna watch it again many times. But I'm watching the Goonies, and you know what I'm thinking the whole time? I wish I was a kid and on this adventure with them, because this looks like oh my god, this was an adventure, and I love all the actors and um, George, my son was very he had a lot of information about the Goonies too, behind the scenes information.
Uh-huh.
And I think Ed typed up a lot of information too.
Ed
Like,
typed up a lot of information, and what was funny is there was one piece of information that Ed literally used all caps to type.
yes, 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 yes. And I was going to bring that up too. I was going to bring that up. I was going to make sure
I mean,
I
we'll
brought
get to
that up.
that, but just so the folks out there watching know, we do research. We kind of scour the interwebs and find out about some of these characters, the actors, the films that we talk about. Um, and I see he's got some soundtrack notes, but he doesn't have my soundtrack notes, which we'll get to when we talk about that. But
But
every week before we talk about a particular topic, but also know you guys out there watching as pop culture kids are part of the conversation too. So please jump in the comments. Let us know you're out there, that you're hanging with us tonight. Also, who was your favorite Goonie, as well as the Goonie that you identified with the most. That should be one of those, those tests, those little pop quizzes they do on Facebook, like, which Goonie are you?
yeah, I don't know. I think if I was one of the Goonies, I would probably be Mikey.
Mikey,
I'll probably be Mikey.
the dreamer, the optimist,
Yeah, the leader of the pack.
See, I would want to be Mouth, but I probably wound up just, I would want to be Mouth, the smart aleck, the smart, funny guy. But I would probably wind up being Chunk,
Yeah,
just dropping things
I would.
and
Yeah, I would. You know what? I would want to be
just,
Mikey, but I would probably want to be in Chunk too. Like, we need something to destroy Chunk. Get over, Kenny.
yeah,
Come over
yeah,
here. We need
just
something to
hold
destroy.
it. 5, 4,
Yeah,
3, 2.
and this is true because at home, um, in front of my room is a gate because it used to be like a dog room. Um,
That's it exactly, Ed.
you know what? Yes,
I
the purple
saw that.
rain shirt. The purple rain
When I'm
shirt.
watching
Yes,
it this week, I saw the Purple Rain shirt, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, there's no way Kenny's not gonna like this." And you know
yeah,
what? When I saw that Purple Rain shirt, and I think I even posted something this week on Facebook about being able to tell
yeah.
how old you are, whether or not, or even how cool you are, whether or not you got to see Prince live in concert. And I got to see him several times,
I got
but
some twice.
when I watched the Goonies and saw that Purple Rain shirt, I'm like, oh Mike, it just
Yeah.
it took me into the way, 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 way back machine. I just got
Um.
oh, they just found the treasure map. Okay.
Okay. So
We'll
no. What I
kind
was
of
gonna
look
say.
behind my shoulder every once in a while just to get a Goonies update. Let's see where we are in the story.
No.
But
No. I was telling a story.
I'm sorry.
I was home, and there's a gate in my
I'm
house.
sorry. You need some story music or
No.
go
No.
ahead. Okay.
Well, there's a gate, right, and the gate comes waist high. And I was on a Zoom call Monday with
Mhm,
Dad.
mhm.
We were on a Zoom call Monday, and I got off the Zoom call. I thought the gate was open because it's right outside my room. I thought the gate was open, and it was closed. And I walked out because there's a curtain and there's a gate. And I walked into the room as if the gate was open and it was closed. And I went through the curtain, I went to the gate, and I hit the gate like this. And this is like the top of my hands and my top half. And I was moving them such boom, and I went over this way, and it was like in slow motion. And I went over the gate onto the floor, boom, boom, on my back. I landed on my back, and I couldn't do anything but laugh. And I was telling my roommate about it, and she just looked at me and was like, you are a hurricane. Like, you always are bumping into something, knocking something over, tearing something down, So I
So
would
in
probably be
essence,
Chunk. I would be
you
Chunk.
okay? You would be Chunk.
I'll be Chunk. I'll be Chunk. Come on, I got two.
I think
I
you
got two.
think you're Mouth, but
Yeah, I think I'm Mikey, but I'll probably be Chunk. Look, man, in less than a month's time, I got into 2 car accidents. Come on, I'm Chunk.
So there you go.
So,
All right. All right. So again, it's Kathy and Kitty explaining pop culture. Tonight we're talking Goonies and kind of where are they now and whatever is going on. We're talking all things Goonies. Well, before we talk about that, you know what? I actually did look up. Yes, the Goonies. I looked up the. Sorry, I can't even see what I'm doing because I need to move the screen over so I know what I'm doing. Anyway, because I know I was trying to see. I knew the Cyndi Lauper song was like the hit from the movie, or at least a hit for her, good enough. And the video for the Goonies. But guess what? When you look up the soundtrack, guess who's on the soundtrack for the Goonies?
Irene Cara?
No, but you're close because you're in my wheelhouse.
Oh, Tina
Who
Marie.
else? Of course, Tina Marie.
I didn't hear her in there.
Yeah, she has a song called 14 Carat or 14K on the soundtrack. Also, Luther Vandross had a song on that soundtrack, as well as REO Speedwagon and the Bangles. The Bengals, not Bengals. We're not football talking. As well as, again, the hit by Cyndi Lauper, Good Enough, that everybody knows. But I just thought it was interesting. And Philip Bailey even performed this song on that soundtrack. So I'm guessing it was probably Epic Records, because at that time, I think Tina Marie had left Motown and was with Epic Records. So I think part of her deal might have been, to get to perform on a couple different soundtracks, because she was also on the Top Gun soundtrack as well. But just a little Goonies trivia I would throw out at you.
George put something up to me too.
Mm-hmm.
And I challenge everyone to think about this and tell me what you think. George said, because he said he researched this. Goonies. Okay, a lot of Goonies was not scripted, was ad lib. Those kids,
Mm-hmm.
they gave them, and they let the kids ad lib because they wanted the kids to be kids. But one of the things about the movie was, because this predated Stand By Me, this predated The Sandlot. This is one of the first movies that kids were the stars, because the kids were the stars. They were the three adult villains, and they were the parents, but they were just like minor characters. So this is the first movie that the kids were the stars. And I'm trying to think, there's got to be another movie before this that the kids took the lead.
I mean, there were movies where kids had the lead, because Mickey Rooney had a whole career.
No. Well, here you go. The kids had a lead. The kids had a lead, but in the other movies where kids had a lead, there was also an adult lead to play off of them. And this one, there was no adult lead to play off of them.
Okay.
So that kind of movie,
unless you count Sloth, yeah. But it was the first of, I guess, of that kind, because and again, as you got into the Howard Hughes, the John Hughes movies where he featured, but again, a lot of times they were teenagers or a little older when you're talking about 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink and that sort of thing. But the Goonies were really, younger kids. I also, and here's the thing too, guys out there, because it seems like we're streaming more stuff than we're actually watching in the theaters. IMDb, Internet Movie Database, which is kind of the wealth of information and source of information, I know, for this show and for getting some quick movie facts and knowledge. They also have a IMDb TV, television, which there is a special on there the making of the Goonies, kind of like a behind the scenes look. And I took a look at that as well because it gave some cool insights about what went into the show. And you know what, Kenny, before we go on, let's just say hi to some of the pop culture kids who are out there listening and tuning in. So happy Saturday, Steve Johnson, pop culture kid. We got to get his address to get him a shirt so he is part of the fold as well. But that's right.
Yeah, well,
Was
E.T.
E.T. before
Even
Goonies?
if it was, there were adults that were like the mother and everything. There were adults that were starring in that. Like this one, the adults did not have a like the mother played a significant part in E.T.
Okay.
Like this movie was centered totally around the kids.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think too because Steven Spielberg had done other movies where just those flights of fantasy, and I think this movie resonates too because again, you got these kids, they're on this quest, so it's got that Indiana Jones kind of element to it, but I always think about kind of the neighborhood where I would say grew up, even though if we lived in Philadelphia, but kind of came of age in Lawnside in New Jersey in a little development that, where they were building houses and things and, you ride your bikes and, riding all the way up to that, like, remember that big house in Haddonfield that always had the spectacular Christmas lights and displays and but when you were on your bikes or going on all these like little mini adventures, oh, let's go here, let's do this, and let's do all these kind of crazy things. Goonies was like a whole movie full of, these
Yeah,
kids on a quest, on an
right.
adventure. And that basically was how you spent your Saturdays. I
Yeah,
kind of, I kind of really like and love the fact that I got to come of age in like the 70s, 80s, as opposed to now. Because I don't know whether kids get that
mm-mm,
opportunity, whether
mm-mm.
there are
Yeah, you know what?
like chances to have those adventures because half the time this is all they're doing.
Yeah, I bought the girls bikes, and I think they rode them like 3 times maybe. I was on my bike
Man,
every day, all day, especially the summertime. And you talk about the adventures. I think I'm pretty sure that I got in more trouble with you with my adventures because I did stuff.
you can't be blaming me for you doing stuff. You
I
know,
did. I got an
if
adventure.
you
Yeah.
accidentally, fall off your bike, you
Okay, let's
know,
not bring that
you
up.
need to
But
you need
you
to
know.
get back up, get back on the bike, not pretend you have a brain injury
Okay.
and
Okay.
that
Anyway.
you
Okay. Let
lost
it
your
go.
memory
Okay.
to
Let
the
it go. Let it
point
go.
where the
Let it
whole neighborhood
go.
has to bring you home, and we are
Okay.
about to
You
put
know
you
what? Okay. All right.
in the car to go to the hospital emergency room because you're such a good actor. Um, Also, the bad part about that is everybody's standing around. They also got to hear that butt whooping for that big lie. I mean, you had
Okay.
anyway.
Moving right along. Moving right along. I was referring to the fact that me and the fellas used to go in the woods and we used to build forts and we used to drive around to the mall. We used to drive to Haddonfield to go to for some reason there's a big deal back in those days to go to the peddler shop, the bike shop in in Haddonfield. So we
Mhm.
would drive all the way up there and we would drive to Echelon Mall. We would go all over the place. And that's why we got those looking. They were the Goonies, we were the tents.
The what?
We were the tens because we all got me and the
What?
fellas. We all got shirts that said "Looking for a 10."
Okay. See, I thought you were going with, oh, we drove 10 speeds,
No,
you
no,
know?
no. We got shirts that said "Looking for a 10." So when we were like kids, we would walk up to girls and we were like, "Hey, baby, you look like a perfect 10." It will work. It will work. It will work.
Okay.
One
So
more
you
time.
said,
One more time. One more time. Hey, baby, you look like Perfect 10. No. Okay. Never mind.
Alrighty. Penn State main campus a couple years ago, everyone was walking around on their cell phones. I know it's
Yeah.
and again, the bad part about that is, just some of those experiences. Um, as hard as it was sometimes, because I was not a very good double dutch player. I could never get like in the rope. But I think there is something to be said for those adventures. For, I think kids nowadays, you say things like jacks or double dutch or hide and seek, red light, green light. They have no idea. And
No.
riding bikes. I know recently, early in the fall, we had actually a drive where folks were donating bikes, and I'm a member of the local NAACP here, and we donated some bikes as a branch. Uh, the members all went out and purchased bikes, and I purchased the bike, and I'm like, okay, good deal, but you had to put it together. I guess I couldn't give them a bike in a box, but I actually put these two bikes together. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, oh, I can follow directions. But I was excited because that means, kids in the neighborhood would have bikes to ride. And I don't know, I just think that is something so important that I don't know. I think kids are missing out when when all they're doing is Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. I'm just checking. I'm checking the Goonie monitor in the back because we got the Goonies going in the
They
back.
found the house. That's when they found the house.
Uh,
Now, I'm not even going to talk because today I spent the day with George and his family,
uh-huh.
and the baby was asleep, so me and George's wife was out, so we had to wait. So we played the board game, and then after we played the board game, I beat him in Mortal Kombat on the Xbox. So.
Oh, thank you. That's President Scott. Oh yeah, I was psyched about the bikes. I'm like, oh, the lights light up, or the body of the bikes lit up. I'm like, I don't know whether I want to get this bike away. Anyway.
So anyway, look, we are now at the halfway point. So Cassie's going to do a public service announcement, and then we're going to come back with where are they now in the Goonies.
In the Goonies. All right. We'll be back right after these words. Hey, and that was a little word about Kenny's production studio. Words Out Productions is his new label for spoken word artists. And there's a link in the description to Kenny's video, which is over, I think, 12,000 views. So check out that link, share it, and give it a like and a thumbs up. And since you're in the thumbs up business, give us a like or a thumbs up if you are watching us on our Facebook page, Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture, or on the YouTube page, K-Walk Comedy. Like and subscribe. Hey, there's a link down there too to buy us a coffee or whatever that says. And that's one way you can support the show and help us keep the pop culture coming.
Pop culture coming. So we're going to start off with Robert Davey.
Robert Davey. Is it Davey or I think it's Davey.
Davey. Okay, Robert Davey.
Robert Davey.
He was Jake. He was the one they broke out of prison in the beginning, and since then he's still acting. He was in Showgirls, Action Jackson, The Expendables 3, Predator 2, and more importantly, he was in Die Hard. He was one of the federal agents, Johnson. He was Johnson and Johnson, no relation.
As the notes tell me, he was in Die Hard.
Yes. We always
That's
have to
all I
mention
got
Die
from
Hard.
tonight's
We
notes. I
always
was
have to
reading,
mention Die Hard every week. Die Hard.
you know, there's like 4 pages of notes for tonight. And I'm like looking and looking, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that Die Hard on the page is bigger than like all the notes.
More power to you, Ed. More power to you, brother. Okay, so Ann Ramsey played Mama Fratelli. You know Ann Ramsey from Throw Mama from the Train, Scrooge,
Hey,
Any Which Way You Can.
you know what? And you know what was confusing to me? Because I think the girl who played the sister on Mad About You, isn't her name Ann Ramsey?
I don't think
I mean, it's
so.
2 different actresses, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
maybe she
well,
doesn't put the E on the end.
there
But
is there's 2 other actresses with the same name, and one puts
mhm,
an initial in the middle of her name.
okay.
I can't think of the one girl's in New Jack City. Anyway,
Okay.
um, she died in '88. She had cancer. She passed away in
Okay.
'88 from cancer. Um,
But she was the mama from Throw Mama on the Train, so this
yeah,
wasn't her first time as a mama.
this wasn't the first time as a mama, and she had that. Her voice was like that because of the cancer, because she had an operation from the cancer and everything. So after the operation, that's why her voice was like that for this movie and Throw Mama from the Train.
Okay.
So John Matuzak was a former NFL player, and he played Sloth.
Oh, and when I was watching the behind the scenes or the making of, and they said like the prosthetics to play Sloth, that that character, it would take like he had to get there at like 4 in the morning for shooting, and he could only like sip milkshakes or eat one French fry at a time because the hole for the mouth was so small, and
Really?
but they were describing him as like just like a gentle giant kind of guy. Just Richard Donner was saying how he never complained, even having to put on all those prosthetics and
Nice.
sit in the chair and then be on the set. And when you're on the set, you got like I got these little fake lights, but they
Yeah.
have the real heavy duty lights, and it's hot and it's uncomfortable. But that wasn't his nature. So it's sad to hear that that
Yeah,
again
he
he
passed
died
away.
from overdose.
Yeah, he passed away in '89 actually, from an
Oh, that's
overdose.
pretty cool. I didn't know they're Fratellis. There's a group that took their name um, from this movie called the Fratellis. I
Oh
think a lot
wow.
of groups take their names from movies and such.
Okay, and of course, I don't even have to tell you what this guy's been in, but
Joey
Francis,
Pants, Joey Pencil. Okay,
yeah,
Pantoliano,
Pantoliano was Francis
Pantoliano.
Fratelli, and as you can see, he had no hair back then either because he had to stay on. And
And actually,
we talked about him last week.
we did, but if I could tell this story too, um, in the little documentary, they talked about how Joey Pants, said him and Robert Davi, evidently, because again, 2 great character actors, um, had a little bit of a rivalry and didn't really like each other.
Wow,
In
really?
fact, in the audition, he said like Robert Davi told the casting directors or whatever, well, he's wearing a rug, he's bald. So, but Joey Pants kind of turned it around because again, it was a comedy movie. He took the wig, pushed it up front. He goes, "That's okay because I could play younger." Pushed it back. I could play older. But the 2 of them actually had a real life kind of contentious relationship. But and they actually played more on it in the movie, that whole sibling rivalry thing. They tried to play off of that in the movie, you know, uh, and it was actually real. So the bonding that they actually did, I think they said that they, by the end of the movie, had bonded a little bit. But actually, as Robert Davi was talking a little bit, it sounds like he was the on the set prankster because he would lock like Joey Pants in his dressing room so he couldn't get out, and just do all kinds of stuff to mess with him. So I don't know. I like watching that behind the scenes, and you should check it
Yeah,
out.
I like the behind the scenes. I like the
It's only
behind the
about
scenes.
25 minutes, but it's funny because it just sounds like that was a fun set. And like one of the big moments, I think, on the set was one day Michael Jackson came by because that was like,
Wow.
Steven Spielberg was like, oh, yeah, Michael's coming by. And meanwhile, there's a scene, I think Cory Feldman was at where he had to have a surprise reaction. And, it really came out of a lot of the stuff he said was improv, came out of his reaction when they found out Michael Jackson was coming. And, so he was doing all. They were, I guess, kind of playing around with, or with the child actors, but taking that just, I guess, their natural responses and that, the fun that they were having, it extended on camera and off camera. So, and that's what to me makes them not feel totally like child actory.
Yeah,
they don't have that child actor stench.
Yeah, no. And one of the scenes also too that I heard was improv, that George heard was improv, was the scene where they first saw the ship. They had to they showed them the ship the first time, but apparently when they showed them the ship, and they want their initial reaction, some of the kids used profanity, so they couldn't use it in the movie. So yeah, everybody knows that, Ed.
I was going to say, Ed, I actually did know that.
Everybody knows that, Ed.
Came from Barbarella.
Barbarella, yeah, that came from Barbarella. Everybody know that.
And that you're having a big squirrel moment. That's like, okay, so we're talking with a squirrel.
Yeah,
which is from another movie altogether. But and actually, when what is it? The Fine Young Cannibals got their name from the movie All the Fine Young Cannibals with Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner, even though he killed her.
Look at that.
Okay.
So anyway, the kids used profanity when they first saw the ship, so they couldn't use that tape. So then they had to get another tape.
But there is cursing in the movie, like
but not. I guess these kids kind of. I think at that time, back in those days, you could only have so many curse words in the movie. So
right, but that was probably pre PG-13.
Yeah,
because this might have gotten a PG-13.
Probably PG. So.
I'm sorry. We talked about the guy who played Sloth, and I had his photo, and I didn't pop it up there. Sorry.
And
we also talked about Anne Ramsey.
Yeah, Anne Ramsey. Yes, she looks way better in that picture in person than she does,
Maybe not now because she's dead.
Not now because she's dead. But Martha Plimpton is very popular right now. She played Steph. You've seen her in Raising Hope, Parenthood, The Good Wife, Seventh Heaven, Fringe. She's had recently, I guess throughout the years, she's been very outspoken politically. And she's stood up for certain things. So she's like a social advocate and political advocate. So she's made quite a name for herself. And I believe she's won a few awards also, and all of, because she's done a lot of TV. She's done a lot of different things. And when you see her, if you didn't know her name, you probably see her face and, oh, I know where she's from.
Mm-hmm. So, she's one of those people that you look at her and you're like, oh, wait, where do I know her from?
Yeah, she's one of those. Ki-Ho Kwan. Ki-Ho Kwan. Am I saying that right?
I thought his name was Jonathan. Am I saying that wrong?
Yeah, well, I heard it was Jonathan too. But yeah, I mean, I guess anyway, he played Data. He was also in Indiana Temple of Jones.
Indiana Temple of Jones.
Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom. He played a part on Head of the Class. Right now, he was in Finding Ohana. I think that's on Netflix.
Okay.
Or is it on Netflix or Hulu or one of those? It's on. But after he did, Goonies and Temple of Doom, he became a stunt coordinator. So he was stunt coordinator
Oh,
for
cool.
movies like the X-Men and the movies The One. So
Cool. That's
so
pretty.
you know, and I like to see that too with some of these people. Um, some of these people find other work from behind the camera, and they don't just like if you're a young child actor, and when you grow, you don't get the parts. You know, some of these child actors get depressed, go fall into drugs, fall into bad life. But
Right.
you know, I like to see
Yeah,
when
we didn't
like
we didn't talk about Cory yet, but the other Cory kind of went that way,
yeah,
and like just about the whole cast of um um different strokes
different strokes.
is
Yes,
just like a cautionary tale. But and again, not everybody's going to be like a Regina King, or Lawrence Fishburne,
yeah.
or not everybody is going to come out the
Not
other
everybody
side.
gonna be like a Time Cruise where you get like you're a young actor and you come up and all of a sudden you know, or not everybody's gonna be a Michael J.
Sarah
Fox.
Michelle Gellar, or
Yeah, yeah, or
we
some of
got
the or some of the people we're gonna get to on this list.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh, we got more on the list.
yeah, yeah, we got more on the list.
There's more on the list.
Carrie Green played Andy. She was a love interest for the older brother.
Hmm.
And she was in Lucas, of course, Summer Rental. Was she still acts, but she also founded the Independent Women Artists, the IWA,
Oh
for
wow,
production company for independent female artists. So she's very
so
active
cool.
also. Yeah, and I like to see like
So that
another child actor who, if she didn't get the part, she did something else in the entertainment industry. It's great.
and that's pretty cool too. When you kind of found something to kind of help, not just bringing you forward, but kind of bringing people up with you. I
Yes.
think that's a cool and admirable pursuit.
You
Kind
know,
of like, you figured out how to put together a spoken word album. So rather than just taking that knowledge and doing more albums and being about self, you've actually put together this studio so people who want to get a chance to record their spoken word pieces can have, an affordable, reasonable place to do that. So that's
yeah. And I
that's
and
pretty
I've
cool.
I've, I've been in deep conversation with a friend of mine who does things for a living, does what I'm about to say for a living. But
Does
she's like,
things for a living.
no, no, no. What I'm about to say,
Don't we
what I'm
all
about
do
to,
things for a
I know.
living?
No,
That's just illegal things.
what I'm about to say. She does. My friend of mine makes a great living um, doing webinars and teaching online, and she makes a really good living. And we were having a conversation. We went out for her birthday, and we're having drinks, and she's like, "Kenny, why don't you do that?" I said, "Do that with what?" And she's like, "With spoken word, or is this, that, and the other?" And I'm like, "Nah, I wouldn't know." And then she actually talked to me, and in the conversation, I put together a plan for a webinar. In that, she looked at me, she goes, "You just put together a plan right there." I'm like, damn you. So and the person who gave me the studio, the building that the studio is in, the young lady who owns the club and two catering halls next to me, she does the same thing. She's a woman who is trying to help other black women in this area start their own business. And one of the women's that she helped was doing a catering hall, and she said people said to her like, you're helping out your competition. She's like, there's enough for all of us. There's enough for all of us. You can do it too. I can do it. You can do it. Let me show you how. And she
You
was
know
the one
what?
that actually helped me get my LLC.
And that's awesome. And to me, that's part of that whole idea of a growth mindset. So, it's not this or that, it's this and that.
Yes.
And that you can help people achieve and get what they need. And you know what? That fills your spirit just as much as it
Yeah.
does the person you're helping. I
I
mean, that's kind
yeah.
of how I
No.
want to.
No. I
That's
tell
kind of the
all.
world I want to live in.
I tell everybody that's involved with the label, if I come up, you come up. We all come up.
Yeah,
We all
that's
come up.
pretty cool.
So on our list next is probably close to a cautionary tale. Cory Feldman, who played Mouth. He was in Lost Boys. He was in Stand By Me. Gremlins, teenage. He was one of the voices for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and if you are not old enough to see him in the '80s and the early '90s, you might know him from the 2000s when he did two Corys with Corey Haim, who passed away. Um, Cory Feldman is out now. I think he's got a rock band or something.
Yeah, he tours around with the band.
Yeah, he's dressed like Michael Jackson almost, and he's trying to do a rock band, and it's.
I'm sorry, what? But he did hang out with Michael a little bit.
He hang out with Michael now. He's dressing like him because you see him. He's got the. I can't.
Why can't you? I can't. And you say that, and I'm like, I realize I don't think the picture I had of Corey came up, but oh my God, he does have the Michael Jackson hat on.
Yeah, see, look. You know what he kind of looks like in that picture though? He looks like in that picture he looks like Charlie Sheen, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's got a little Charlie Sheen going on.
He looks like Charlie Sheen right there. He does.
He's got Charlie Sheen vibes.
And then I saw an interview where he was saying how great Michael used to be and that Michael was his friend and everything. Well, you're not bringing him back by dressing like him, buddy.
He's not coming back. He looks like
a mini Charlie Sheen.
Mini Charlie Sheen.
He looks like a mini Charlie Sheen. Okay, so now next we're going to talk about Chunk, Jeff Cohen.
You want to talk about transformation because again,
yes. Chunk is now a skinny dude.
He's a good-looking dude, but he's.
I'm not going to go that far. I don't look at other dudes. I'm like Eddie Murphy. I'm looking at Eddie Murphy and Boomerang. We don't judge other dudes.
It reminds you kind of Jerry O'Connor and Stand By Me.
Yes.
Because a lot of people didn't believe that Jerry O'Connor. Whoa, that's the same guy. No, and yes, it is.
Unlike me, I was good looking as a kid. I'm good looking now, so it's kind of like it's a win-win for me. But what the heck? Okay, that's enough. Every show you put, come on.
Well, you say these things that are blatantly false.
Anyway, he did a movie called. Jeff Cohen did a movie called Ass Max. After that,
does that sound familiar?
Hey, Scooby Life, how you doing? Ass Max. It was a movie in the 80s, like too far after Goonies. And then after that, he kind of dropped out of acting. And from what I read, he saw behind the scenes of the film business. And he went to college, and that's where he decided to go. So now he's an entertainment lawyer because he realized that without lawyers, nothing in the entertainment world will get done because you got to sign contracts. You got to have lawyers no matter what you do.
Got to have lawyers.
He probably, he's an entertainment lawyer and he's probably doing good.
And you know what? That's what I used to want to be when I grew up. I used to always say, I'm going to be a lawyer. And then I just went blank at my first high school debate. And I was like, I'm gonna.
I always wanted to be.
And that took away my law dreams.
I always wanted to be Sidney Poitier. So.
Okay. All right.
But Sidney Poitier was already Sidney Poitier, so I couldn't be him. Anyway, Jeff Brolin was Brand. I first saw this guy, and since I didn't see the Goonies back in the day, I first saw him playing Wild Bill Hickok and the Young Riders. He was in Deadpool 2. He was in Men in Black 3.
Oh wait, who was he in Deadpool 2?
He was Cable.
Oh, okay. Like the voice. He wasn't.
No, he was an actor. Yeah, he was an actor. That was Cable.
But I know, wasn't he the voice of like Thanos?
Yeah, he was also Thanos in the Avengers.
Okay. And isn't Deadpool and Avengers both in the Marvel universe?
Well, now, yeah, but back then they weren't.
Oh,
They were
like
all Marvel
can they do
characters.
that?
They were Marvel characters in the comic books.
Uh-huh.
But at the time, Marvel had sold the rights to the X-Men to Fox.
Oh, okay.
So Marvel had sold the TV and cartoon rights to Fox, but they kept the comic book rights so they could make the X-Men books.
Okay.
So and then Marvel itself had their own rights to like the Avengers characters. So it's kind of confusing, but Marvel had to sell some, just like they sold Spider-Man to Sony. They sold the rights. They
Okay.
sold the movie rights and cartoon TV rights of Spider-Man to Sony, and they
Oh, you know
sold.
what? When is the new Spider-Man going to be on like streaming? Because I didn't see it in the theater,
You did? Oh, it was
and
awesome. It was awesome.
people are upset because they're saying that it should have been like Oscar nominated. That's
Yeah,
how
it should
good
have
it
been.
was, and it got
It should have been.
snubbed.
It got
But
snubbed. There's a lot
anyway,
of things that
that's for
should have been
another.
Oscar nominated. Like a lot of superhero movies should be Oscar nominated.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
can you believe like as far as TV goes, does Oscar doesn't do TV? Okay, so
No, Oscars are films.
yeah,
Emmys are TV.
Emmys, yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of things that get snubbed.
It's a pop culture show, Kitty.
I
Those
know.
are basic.
I got. I'm sorry. I'm okay. I'm good. Did the Emmys get nominated yet?
The Emmy nominations. I don't believe they're out yet. The Oscar nominations were this.
Because look, if Vision and Scarlet Witch is not in the Emmys, we got problems.
What's Vision in the Scarlet?
No, Scarlet Witch, WandaVision rather. If
WandaVision.
If WandaVision is not in, we got problems.
Oh, I think that would have been last year's Emmys.
WandaVision came out in 2020.
I know. This is 2022. Where have you been for a year?
Okay, COVID got me messed up. All right.
Yeah.
So
this would be like either Hawkeye or I think Falcon and Snowman would be eligible. Yeah. But in any case.
No, but what I'm saying is Josh Brolin, he has been acting all this time. He's done a lot of other roles. He's somebody who was a child actor and stayed in the acting till this day. I loved him as
Isn't he from like an acting family or whatever?
Brolin? Yeah.
Like a legacy.
You know what? I didn't put that down. I think he is. Ed, help me out here. And next we have Sean Astin. Who's Mikey? Sean Astin, who followed Frodo all over Middle Earth.
Sean Astin, Rudy. Now you've seen Rudy.
No, I didn't see Rudy. Sean Astin.
Oh my! Wait! Whoa! Stop! You didn't see Rudy? Oh my goodness! We're like on the eve of a Super Bowl, and you didn't see Rudy? You know what? I'm sorry. We gotta go. Show is over. It's time to leave because
I did see. Remember the Titans? Oh, I did see. Remember the Titans.
I was like, let's end the show. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm just being bad. I'm being bad. But I mean, we keep hitting these like touchstones, and I know there's some movies I haven't seen, but taste, class, wisdom. Okay, so I didn't see the Fast and Furious till we started talking about it, but for the most part, even the movies I didn't like, I know are like I avoided Titanic for I don't know how many years, but eventually I broke down. I avoided Avatar. I'm just like, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I've never seen Avatar. I've never seen Avatar.
Okay, you know what? It's going to be Kathy explains pop culture. Kenny just talks about himself. We need to change the name of the show, something, because these are little nuggets. These are basics.
Okay. Anyway, I never saw Titanic either. I saw the end of Titanic.
Well, yeah,
I saw the end of Titanic. I saw the end of Titanic, and it was
James
stupid.
Brolin. That's it. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ed.
James Brolin. The end of Titanic was stupid
Because he's married
because
to Barbara
she
Streisand.
could have got him on that little piece of board. Like, why couldn't they sit on top of each other? They was already, lovers. Why couldn't they both like sit on? Nah, man, he had to die. He had to
Well,
die.
you know what? You didn't see
She
the
was
movie,
selfish.
so we really
She
don't
was
care.
selfish. She was selfish.
Oh, wait, Toy Soldiers. Now I have Toy Soldiers. Is that the one where they trap themselves in the boarding school? Timothy Hutton. Is that? Am I right, Ed? Because I think Sean Aston in that one, Soldiers. If that's the movie I'm thinking about, where and that one had a lot of child actors in it as well. If I have the right movie, if that's the movie, I don't know what that movie was called.
Recently,
I'm thinking it was filmed outside of Philadelphia somewhere. But I could have the wrong movie. Maybe it's called.
I don't know. I'll see if I could. I'll see. Is it on? Do you know what channel Toy Soldiers is on? That let me know.
He said it's on right now.
Very similar. The border school is taken to by terrorists.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of Taps. Maybe I'm thinking of Taps.
Okay, yeah, you're thinking of Taps.
Taps was the one with Timothy Hutton. That was filmed,
and
wasn't it filmed outside of Philadelphia?
Yeah, but wasn't that Timothy Hutton? Was that Tom Cruise?
Was Tom Cruise in that one?
And Taps? Tom Cruise was in Taps.
Okay. But
he was the one that went crazy.
Had Will Wheaton, Lou Gossett Jr. Okay, Toy Soldiers. I think I've seen it, and I gotta go back. I might have to look that one up and take a look. Very similar border school taken by terrorists. I think in Taps, the students kind of
took over the school,
took hold of the school because they were shutting it down or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was beautiful, because Tom Cruise was shooting everybody. He was like, "It's beautiful, man! It's beautiful!" And then they killed him. Okay, so and he was also in. So Sean Astin was in Stranger Things.
Right, second season.
They killed him, which they shouldn't have done. And then,
spoiler alert! You got to let somebody know before you go blurting out.
I'm sorry.
Lines.
And he was
there could be people who haven't seen Stranger Things, and
you know
just
what?
killed the second season.
It's been out for like over 2 years. So, and he was also in 50 First Dates, which I never seen that movie.
Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore.
I don't know who's in it, but the whole idea of somebody waking up and forgetting everything, it's just redundant and annoying to me. And he's got to do this. No, I'm good.
Wait, so did you ever see Groundhog Day?
No.
Kenny, seriously. No, I mean, no shtick. Don't do shtick, because you do shtick all the time.
I'm not doing shtick. No, I'm not doing shtick. I never saw Groundhog Day. I never did. No, I'm not doing shtick.
No,
I'm not doing shtick.
You've never seen Groundhog Day with Bill Murray?
No. I know who's in it. Bill Murray.
I don't know. I just don't know. The whole premise of doing a show on pop culture to me seems pointless with someone who's, quite frankly, and again, like, the 80s, 90s, that's kind of supposed to be our wheelhouse sort of thing.
Yeah, but my wheelhouse is music and fantasy, like comic books and superheroes. So, I know all about superheroes. I know all about music. So I don't know a couple of movies, but that's
a couple. I mean, your lack of knowledge on movies is thick.
Can we move on?
We can move on because we're just about out of show time anyway.
I wore a long sleeve shirt this week because last week you said something about my ashy arms. So,
well, excuse me, I captured this picture. I just thought it was so cool because they were posing kind of in the same positions that they were for. And there he goes with another one of those Michael Jackson
hats. Yeah, he thinks he's Michael Jackson reincarnated.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
funny. Let's see where we are with the Goonies. Oh, okay. They're down in the caves.
I love
So,
the part where they slide down and they go through the slide and they come out. That's great.
well, again, it's a Spielberg movie, so it's like you know, um, if your inner child could make movies, you know what? They'd be Spielberg movies because basically,
Before I came in here, I
hmm
was driving with George. George just dropped me off at the house, and we were listening to a podcast that he told me to listen to, and I didn't listen to the whole podcast, but we were listening to a podcast about the Goonies, another podcast, and they were saying how Spielberg, um, when he was younger, was kind of bullied as a child and was kind of like
hmm
the outcast. So that's kind of they were saying this is kind of where the Goonies came from, like a bunch of outcasts, really.
right.
But these kids were cool kids I would have hung out with when I was that age. I would, let's go tear something up. Let's go do it.
Let's go do it. Well, again, The Goonies is one of those classics, and it's good to see that for the most part, all the actors are kind of in a good place.
Yeah.
Some almost 40 years later, uh,
Yes.
from wow, that's hard to like wrap your head around sometimes when you think of the movies that you watched in middle school, high school, and going to the movies was kind of like a big deal and a big event. And now, wow,
No,
2020.
for me and the kids, going to the movies is still a big event because we go on special movies, and we'll go, and it's still a big event for us because when we go, sometimes it's even though the kids are older, it's me, George, Kiana,
hmm
Mackenzie, Olivia, sometimes Justine too, and we'll all just go. Me and all the kids will go see a movie and have a good time with it.
Yeah, it's
You know,
pretty cool.
can't wait to
Pretty,
take Milo
pretty
to a
cool.
movie.
Oh, till he gets that, till he gets that big. Okay.
Yeah, well, we were talking today, and and George's wife was like, "I can't wait till you guys take him to the comic book store because he's going to be a nerd like his dad and grandfather."
Nerding out. Speaking of which, and did you talk to George about doing a Dungeons and Dragon training
Yes, yes,
show
yes,
so he can like
and
learn the
he's
game?
yeah, I'm going to talk to him again this week, but he's going to make up a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make up a fake campaign that's going to take us a
Okay.
couple minutes to do, and he's going to show us a campaign, a
Okay.
Dungeons and
Now, what
Dragons
do we
campaign.
need? Do we need? Are there supplies or things that we need?
No, it's fantasy.
Oh, like I'm like I don't have to go to the store and buy a pack of cards or
I
anything.
don't think so. I'll ask him. I'll ask. I don't think so. No. You
Ask
gotta make
them.
up a
What
character.
would?
You gotta make up a character. We're not
Okay.
doing it yet. We're not doing it for a while yet. So he's
Okay.
got to make the. It
And
takes a
how many
minute to make.
people do we need? Can we get some of the pop culture kids involved and
I'll ask
the
him.
different characters
I'll ask him.
like Ed and Steve and Scooby
Yeah,
Life and
yeah.
that'd
See,
be
we can
kind
get
of cool.
get
Because
a
again, to me, like Dungeons and Dragons is a nerdy rite of passage, and I
now.
never got to play. So,
George got me into a TV show that's on Amazon.
hmm
That's based off of a group of voice actors who played Dungeons and Dragons together.
oh, cool,
Um, and these voice actors, they did this Dungeons and Dragons thing online. This podcast where they played Dungeons and Dragons like 10 years ago, and now their campaign that they did is now a cartoon on Amazon
oh, cool.
with the way they did it, and it's called Vox Machina. And George got me into watching it. And let me tell you something: it's a cartoon, but it's like Dungeons and Dragons. There is some profanity in it, but Vox Machina is so good, so good. So if you're a nerd like me, you will like Vox Machina on Amazon. It's great. It's great.
On Amazon. So maybe I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Oh, I'm sorry. You was talking about the last comment. I'm flashing old comments, but
Next week, next week, it'll be funny. This is not going to be the show, but it'll be a funny show. if we go
What
through,
would be-
if we show pictures of Cory Feldman's wardrobe to see his progression
How
in
many
changing
times
into Michael,
he looks
how,
like Michael Jackson?
how many times he looks like Michael Jackson, and how many times he looks like Charlie Sheen. In this picture, he looks like Charlie Sheen. In this picture, he looks like Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson or Charlie Sheen? Who wore it
Michael
better?
Jackson
No.
or Charlie Sheen. Yeah, there you go. Like if
Given that
Michael Jackson and Charlie Sheen, like if they took their DNA and made a kid, it would be Cory Feldman.
there you go. All right. On that note, next week, what do you know what we're talking about next week? I don't know.
No, no. Oh wait, you know what?
What?
I do not know what we're talking about next week.
All right.
I
So
usually think of this beforehand, but
we
I had
do, and it's been
you
busy,
know,
and you've been
it's been
crashing
busy,
cars and stuff. So
I've been crashing cars, and
I just had dental
mostly-
surgery, so I had to have
Really?
like I was in the dental chair. I was in the dentist chair for like I went in at 9. I didn't get out till after 1.
this morning.
No. Oh gosh, if it was this morning, I probably remember that. That some people, that are related to me were making fun of me because I was talking like this because my mouth was, how the stuff has to wear off in your mouth and stuff.
I would have loved to. Not that I would have made fun of you, but I would have loved to have been there.
Well, I took a picture and it was so pitiful. It was like, and you know what was bad? I was invited to a Zoom call, and it was actually people from the income stream. I know you've tuned in a couple times, the 365-day stream that Pat Flynn did. But there's a group of folks from that stream that get together like once a month or whatever, and they have a Zoom call. And I was invited, and I tuned in, but I had the camera off because I was still in the dental chair. And I popped the camera on accidentally. I didn't know. And I was just like, and they're like, oh,
oh, turn yourself off. Turn yourself off.
Hey, make sure you invite me to the next one. Hopefully I can say hi and participate. But yeah, I had to have stuff's done. It was not pretty, but it's feeling better now, so it's all good. It's all good. A lot of Tylenol. It was like 68 degrees here today. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, let's not even talk about that. It was 60 here. It was 60 here. It was warm here. It was warm here too. So
Okay.
know.
Anyway, listen, we are out. We keep saying we're going to shorten the show, but we just can't seem to make it happen. We can't make it happen.
It gives the pop culture kids another more chance to look at me.
Okay. Anyway, next week on Kathy Explains Pop Culture, Kenny Explains Kennyisms, we'll be talking about something pop culture related.
Yeah.
So all of you Goonies, all you pop culture kids, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We will see you guys next week.
God bless your soul and keep living. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for geeking out with Kathy and Kenny on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.